All right, welcome, Agile friends. Today I'm joined by Umar Ijaz, producer, community builder, and someone who spent years working at the intersection of indie game development and Agile thinking. And in this session, we're exploring the genuinely thought-provoking idea that indie game studios might actually be the closest thing we have today to what their original Agile manifesto described. Welcome, Umar.
Thank you very much, Egan. Glad
Yeah,
to be here.
we're glad to have you here. So for the audience, there's also other sessions at the Global Agile Summit that touch on this space. Don't miss those. You can find all the talks at globalagilesummit.com. But right now, let's focus on Umar and our topic. So, Umar, you've worked with indie teams as a producer and a community builder. At some
Mhm.
point, you came to see indie game development not just as a place where Agile is functional, but as a place where Agile naturally exists in a way that it doesn't in larger organizations or elsewhere. When did that click for you?
Um, so I could start our conversation by saying agile is a mindset, right?
Sure.
And that would be the end of the conversation.
Done. We're out of here. Right.
But the truth is, it takes a time to develop the mindset. I mean, these things have been said day in and day out. We've heard it. Takes a lot of time, a lot of practice. But the practice only happens when you're having these kind of conversations. Uh,
Yeah.
Two people, you add another person, become a team. Uh, I want to go back a few years when my son was playing for a tournament. And when I say playing, as in football or soccer, as you call it in the USA, uh, this was a Sunday league tournament, one day, back-to-back football happening. And it was a nice place to see an iterative, uh, exponential validation of things, conversations that took a very young under 12 at that time, I think, team, which was communicating with each other. They were trying something new, winning each match, and in the end, they won the whole tournament. Made me realize, from an observer's point of view, that that was agility happening on the uh, soccer field, and I was like, wow, if these kids can, they don't know what agile is, they don't know what practice is, feedback is, or constant communication, but they're talking to each other. It's the communication, it's the conversations, which make them win the tournament.
Yeah.
Going through with my teams, and now when Agapo Games came up on the horizon, I mean, it's just four of us in the studio. It's Alex, Ian, Alan, Graham, and myself. Uh, I knew straight away that we wanted to make things happen with a strategy which was rooted in agility, but also flow of conversations, getting to know the idea. What's the vision? How do we get there? How do we bring people along on that journey? Because when you're making something software, or rather a game, which is not really software, it's a creative space. Uh, so you're making something for the people. And if you're making something for the people, then it would be more interesting to have something by the people and for the people because you're involving them in the process. And I believe that's where the Agile Manifesto came into being as well, right? Because it was made out of necessity. So being an indie, using and leveraging Agile from the necessity space again, and having those conversations. And that's where it all began. And now we are currently 1 year ahead of that curve into that whole journey. We've already released a game. At that time, we were brand new to the industry. Right now, we're still having those conversations amongst ourselves. I sometimes become the bridge, but it's those rhythm that help us get from, say, April 2025 to now, which is April 2026. Uh, and then the conversations enabled us to release a prototype in 3 months. Again, the conversations internally and externally made us release a game in 6 months. And here we are working on two more prototypes. So, how I see myself from my past experience as Scrum Master, Agile coach, now an indie game producer is I facilitate conversations.
Sure, absolutely. And I think that that's very interesting. And you sort of mentioned the manifesto